Well, good evening, everyone, and I'm pleased to welcome all of you in the audience to the Focus on Norton series, sponsored by the Norton Republican Town Committee. I'm Paul Rawazzi, chairperson of the Norton Republican Town Committee. And just briefly, as I've said many times, the Focus on Norton series goal is to inform the people of Norton what is happening in our community and enable us to grow into an informed community. We invite people to speak at our series, and we are charged with serving our community, both government and non-government. This event can be viewed on local cable TV via the video menu at the Norton Media Center website. In our audience tonight, I'd like to welcome Michael Chasen, State Representative for Bristol, Steve Hornsby, Board of Selectmen, and Bob Kimball, who is a candidate for the Select Board, which we have an election coming up. Now, tonight we are, and yes, you are, Steve, you're up here. Tonight we are honored and privileged to have our guest speaker, the president of Wheaton College, Michaele Whelan, who became the 9th president of Wheaton College in January 1st, 2022. Boy, time is flying. I know you came here early on in your tenure. She is also accompanied by Michael Gracer, and Michael will be here to answer some questions as well, okay? President Whelan has a distinguished academic career. She attended Cornell University and graduated summa cum laude in English and American Literature. She received her PhD from Harvard. She taught at Penn State, Harvard, Tufts, and Brandeis. She came from Emerson College, where she served as provost from 2013 until her arrival at Wheaton. She currently serves on the executive committee of the New England Commission on Higher Education, this region's institutional accreditor for colleges and universities. She's a frequent contributor to and participant in educational leadership programs. Among her peers, she has a reputation of getting things done and a leader in launching and managing academic initiatives, creating programs in graduate and professional studies, and fundraising. Since his arrival at Wheaton, she has seen the opening of the School of Nursing and the inception of a criminal justice major. Wheaton College is an important landmark and participant in the community of Norton. We travel the streets of Norton and see and hear about Wheaton's important role in our community to enable our mutual success as a partner with the college. Again, President Whelan and Michael, welcome, and we look forward to having you talk to us tonight. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm going to need that folder, that yellow one. Yep. That's okay. And we're okay? All right. Well, thank you for having me back. It's a pleasure to visit with you again and talk about what's happening at Wheaton now. I remember I got a really warm welcome the first time I came, and that was right after the pandemic, and I was just starting out at Wheaton. I thought, what will this be like? And it was really great. So I will just say this is a particularly exciting time of the year at any college. In 2 weeks, classes are going to end, and in 4 weeks, we'll be having commencement for the class of 2025 and welcoming back hundreds of alums who will be celebrating reunion. And that's all going to happen the weekend of May 16th and 17th. So I would say watch the traffic because it's going to be crowded around here. You know, spring is always a really busy time on a college campus, and if you drive by the campus now, you're going to see a big blue and white welcome banner, a lot of balloons, and a whole lot of people on Friday because it's Welcome to Wheaton Day. And we will be welcoming hundreds of students and their families who have been admitted to the college and are thinking about enrolling. And so it's a special visiting program for them to come, meet with faculty, meet with students, and to try to make that decision about where they're going to enroll. Now, I'm really happy to say that enrollment at Wheaton continues to be very strong, unlike other places you may have been hearing about in the media. So our applications for admissions have grown by 40% in the last 4 years. And according to preliminary results for looking ahead for the class of fall 25, this trend is continuing. We had 5,900 applications for admissions this week, and this is the 6th consecutive year that applications to Wheaton have grown. New student enrollment has increased about 4% since 2021, which, when you consider how many institutions have declining enrollment, really demonstrates strong interest from high school-bound seniors. Our students at Wheaton come to us from across the country and around the world, and they represent many different backgrounds and experiences. So our total student body is about 1,773. We would like it to be closer to 2,000. That's a goal. And the states and countries represented: 42 states at this point and 39 countries. Massachusetts accounts for about 41% of all of the students. First-generation students are 21% at the college. International students are 4%. Students of color are 25%. The most popular interests among our first-year students are probably not going to be a surprise to you: business and management, nursing, psychology, biology, computer science, and education. So many of these are practice-based as well as being liberal arts. I'd say that one of the keys to our enrollment strength is that we are introducing new programs that speak to student interests and opportunities. And as was noted when I was last here, we were getting ready to welcome a new cohort of nursing students. And so we have had 643 applications for admissions to nursing, and that's up 10% from last year, and 60% from 2023, which was our first year. So that's really strong growth, and obviously this is fulfilling a need in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Our Nursing Simulation Center, this is where we simulate the hospital rooms. So it has all the equipment, the monitors, it has mannequins of all different people. One gives birth, which is something to see. But this simulation center prepares students to be in the hospitals, to take the vital signs and understand when a patient's going into arrest so that they're prepared to do their clinical work. And we are one of the few colleges that actually has this special simulation facility. And we've been talking to our colleagues at Sturdy Health about maybe this could be a good partnership if they'd like to, increase professional development for some of their staff. In addition to nursing, we do have design. We've got criminal justice. We added finance. We also added marketing, and we added communication. So those are all new programs within the last 2 years. We have a new education minor that I think might be of interest to Norton because, and maybe more generally, but Norton too, because it's teaching multilingual students. And it helps prepare our students to graduate with a Massachusetts state certification to work as a teacher for English language learners, both here and also to teach English abroad. And so we're one of the few in the state that offer that program. So again, a special interest. We're also looking beyond undergraduate majors for ways to add value to our student experience. And we've just added a new 4+1 bachelor's and master's combination. And there's 3 of these. There's a program in business, there's one in creative industries, which essentially combines business with literally the creative industries of film and media and communication. And it has entrepreneurial components as well. And then the third one is environmental science. And so this allows students to get their bachelor's and master's on an accelerated schedule. So literally 5 years for 2 degrees. You start taking those master's classes as a senior, and then when you graduate, you can be anywhere in the world working and then finishing that degree online. So it saves a lot of money, makes it affordable for more students and families, and it allows them to go out into the world while still finishing a Wheaton degree. You may also know or have heard, I hope, about our new pre-college program. And this is for high school students. So it's a month-long program that allows students to earn Wheaton College credit in an academic area of interest. And what's really special about our program is that we have athletes who are able to train for their sport as well as take a college level class. So it's a specialized attraction for athletes who want to play at the college level and may be interested in certain kinds of sports. This program allows students to live on a college campus and get a sense of it, and to take a course that, if they do it for credit, will transfer pretty much anywhere, whether it's to another public or private. And we also offer a commuter option. So this is really designed for high school juniors and those going into their senior year as well. I think everyone in this room, I could probably do a show of hands, though it wouldn't show up on camera, knows about our Early Education Center. And this was previously known as the Elizabeth Amen Nursery School. And the sign said, Amen Nursery School. And when I first got here, people said to me, I didn't know you had a religious program. And so they didn't realize it was named after Elizabeth Amen. So we've just changed it to Early Education Center while still noting that faculty member who was so important to the program. Now, it's known as a lab school or a laboratory school, and it emphasizes learning through play and active exploration. And so you have professional teachers aided by our college students who are really interested in working with children, and also by the psychology department, who of course are experts in childhood development. So it's an amazing education for really young ones. And there's lots of different options for different schedules and different levels of readiness. So there's half-day programs 3 or 4 times a week for 3 to 5-year-olds. And there's a full-day program for children 4 years old and older. And there's often waiting lists. So I'd say if anyone's interested, come visit at one of the open houses and get your name on the list. Even if you've got a 2-year-old, you can be thinking ahead for this great program. They often come around the Dimple at Halloween, and they show their costumes off to the entire campus. They also go in the backyard of the president's house and pick apples and learn to make applesauce, and they have a little garden that they grow outside. So they're really learning about themselves in the natural world at a young age. So I would highly recommend it. I would also just say a few things about our relationship with Norton. So while we have this international reach, we are really a local organization. More than half of our employees live within a half hour of campus. On an annual basis, Wheaton contributes more than $1 million in property taxes and fees. We also purchase more than $4 million in goods and services from Bristol County businesses each year. So that's a substantial impact. We are fortunate to have partnerships with many local organizations, including Norton Schools. We have a Wheaton Tutor Outreach Program, and that was paused during the pandemic, but we have started it up again. We have students who sign up to serve as tutors in the Norton Middle School in the afternoons. They get training from the head of our Department of Education professor and from the assistant principal in the Norton schools. And they get that training before they start to work. So we're doing this fall and spring, and we want to expand this program beyond the middle school to high school too. We also had a STEAM showcase where Wheaton students studying science and education and their faculty led activities to engage elementary and middle school students here in Norton. And we have a professor in our education department, Sarah Donaldson, who's probably well known to, I think, most of the faculty in Norton, who really organizes this event. I think you know that we have a partnership with Sturdy Health, and they partner with us in terms of serving as our medical center on our campus and also for the community. So they are interested in and have provided a scholarship to our nursing program, and of course are interested in hosting our nursing students for clinical experiences, both while they're in school and beyond. And so we're delighted that that partnership exists. We also partner with the Norton Land Preservation Trust, the Historical Society, the Senior Center, and many more in the town. I think this provides great learning opportunities for our students, and I think contributes to the town and the people of Norton. We're looking forward this summer to our annual big event with the Norton community, which is the Symphony Under the Stars. So that's going to be in July, and we'll get some announcements out about that. But that's the big picnic behind the house, in which the Great Woods Symphony Orchestra, that's composed of our faculty, students, and surrounding townspeople, come together and play, hopefully in good weather outside. And Norton Police are there to make sure everything goes smoothly and get all that traffic under control. And we also have a special Winterfest event that we want to get the word out more. So we'll be trying to do that. That's in December, where we have a cappella groups, craft groups on campus. We have ice sculptures. So it's a real event for families. Kids really like to come. And we have a local person who has Percheron horses and an enormous wagon, and they do a big tour around the dimple. And our students and the little kids really enjoy that. So of course everyone is welcome. And we look forward to welcoming the prom classes when they take the pictures on the dimple. I always get to look out the window and you see all these very elegantly dressed young people getting their pictures taken. And we are open, of course, to many dog walkers and simply walkers in the community, and they help make our lives better for our students and everyone else to introduce their friends to us. So I will stop there and just see if you have any questions.
Have you taken advantage of collaborating with this studio, the Norton Media Center, in terms of getting the word out? Because you are welcome here in Norton.
Yes.
I've never heard anything negative, and if it did happen, it was cleared up very quickly. And from the positive way that you're talking about the expansion and the fact that we love you and the school and what it does for us, we'd like to see you expand on the new programs that you've brought to the school, the nursing, and you mentioned another one.
We've designed, which helps prepare students to go into whether it's interior design or graphic design. We have criminal justice, restorative justice, and criminology, because it draws from anthropology, sociology, and practical experiences with the legal system.
Is there a strong relationship between your sister, not your sister college, Brown University?
We have a program where we sponsor some of their graduate students to teach some courses. Really, that's in the music program. Often Brown, we might have a grant program with them. And I know that Brown is always welcomed us if we have, if we have questions about something administratively complicated, like post-awarding, which we don't really have in the same way that they do. So yes, I'd say they're very welcome to us.
be negligent in not mentioning the subject of AI.
Yeah.
It's all over us. Maybe it even got beyond when you used to teach, but I'm just thinking that, you know, more time the kids spending on their devices, their smartphones, and then, you know, right at this chat GPT kind of stuff, it just freaks me out. But in the meantime, do you feel that some of it has to be obviously harnessed and run correctly? Because, you know, the ability to reason, debate, and think productively, write well, and be less prone to groupthink. I think sometimes the groupthink comes into play, and, you know, I'm just thinking that how independent I used to do my own research, whether I was going anywhere, but at least I was doing it. Just comment on your thoughts. I mean, I'm not against progress, but it's part of the whole world right now.
Yes, I mean, you've certainly touched on a topic that everyone is discussing. You know, in some ways, if you think back to when the internet was a new thing, everyone said that was the demise of education, that students were just going to rely on the internet, and, you know, they didn't really need to have higher ed. I think it's somewhat of that same panic again, but I think the potential is enormous in terms of administrative support. I think our students are going to have to learn how to use it. What's interesting is you mentioned research, and you know that when you're doing research, a lot of it is trying to hone the question. What are you trying to ask? What are you trying to solve? What are you trying to discover? It's the same thing with creating prompts for artificial intelligence. Right? You have to be able to create that question in order to get back the best possible results. So we have faculty policies on AI, and there's 3 of them, because of course we're Wheaton. We have options. One of them simply says if you're going to use AI, you need to cite your sources. You need to tell the faculty member when you are using AI and make sure that you're footnoting it in paper or any kind of assignment. The second is you can't use AI at all. And the third is we're going to use AI in certain assignments, and then we're going to talk about what it's useful for, what it isn't, how well you're deploying it, how you can do better. You know, truthfully, I think the big research universities who are getting multi-billion-dollar grants to study AI, they're going to learn more quickly about how it can be used, and I'm sure they're going to share with the smaller colleges in higher education. Meanwhile, we'll run experiments. We're going to try an experiment with a virtual advancement agent. Yeah, so, you know, an advancement is really the art of philanthropy. And how could an AI agent be helpful while declaring they are an AI agent for Wheaton? So we're intrigued by this. We want to try it, and I'm sure there will be other experiments. So we're dipping our toes in the water, and I'm sure we're going to learn like everybody else.
I'm sure your foot soldiers, which are your faculty, are adjusting all the time.
Yes.
Do you think it makes less teaching in the classroom kind of thing? It seems to me that the teachers spend as much time, you know, I visualize, you know, having the drawing board, the chalk, and the lecture, and does it take away a little bit from that?
I think some faculty will say it's just another tool.
Another tool.
And you have to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
Others will say that, let's say in a discipline in which you're teaching theater, you're there in the moment, right? You have to learn your lines and the gestures and the movements. AI might help you look up famous actors who had that part in the past, right? So that might give you some background context, but you're going to be up there on the stage alone. You're still going to have to do that. So certain disciplines, it doesn't affect as much in the same way. I think certainly writing is an area where it can be very helpful, but you also don't want it to hamper your own ability to learn to be a good writer, right? So again, is it a tool that's useful for you, or is it a way for you to take a shortcut and you're not learning how to do what you need to be a good communicator? Yeah, no fast and easy answers there, but great question. Yeah.
So, President Whelan, you mentioned your cooperation with the Norton school system.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any connection at all with Southeastern Regional?
Not to my knowledge. I know that the previous superintendent reached out to us. We have placement of our student teachers and placement of our graduates. We don't have a formal partnership in which we're able to offer courses for early credit. We've mostly focused that partnership on Norton in terms of offering students summer school classes. A few of those can be for free or in this pre-college program.
The reason I bring it up is
Yep.
that listening to some of your new programs,
Yeah.
the same kind of programs they offer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if there's probably a better opportunity for the two schools to connect better in the future. You know, you talk about nursing program, they have a lot of medical programs.
Mhm.
You know, you talk about some of the other facets of it. I know it's a regional vocational school.
Yeah.
We send 50, 70 students per year over there, maybe more depending on, you know, how much availability there is. But I just think it would be a great opportunity to reach out to another area, school that, you know, they take care of Easton and Brockton and Norton and Mansfield, Foxborough. I mean, they've got a bunch of our surrounding communities that they deal with. And I know my wife graduated from the nursing program at Southeastern Regional, and my daughter graduated from the medical program over there. So there are, your new programs are
Yeah.
offered. There's some opportunities there where some of their students might benefit from some of what you're offering.
Yeah, no, thank you. That sounds great. Yeah. I know that we are also started, I think it's a bit ad hoc, but for students in Norton who are more interested, not in college, but in the trades, a program with our folks in facilities where they can come and get some of that initial training and experience when they're seniors in high school. So that was another great partnership idea that we had just through discussion that's working really well, I think, for everyone. I'd like to see that grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
You know, I'll make a confession. I'm part of an adult learning program that's run by Hillsdale College.
Mm-hmm.
It's free,
Mm-hmm.
and you take courses on Constitution, Aristotle, and you know, you sit at your computer, and it's been very, very interesting. What are we doing with that whole concept of adult learning online? You know, there's a lot of people that, as they get into their later years, need to keep the old brain working. You know?
Well, a lot of, as you know, a lot of our lectures and concerts are open,
Yes.
right? So the whole campus is open to anyone who's interested in these topics. We also have a program that one of our faculty members, well, several of the faculty are involved with.
Regularly.
Yeah, do you remember the name, Mike?
It's had several names. One was Norton Learning in Retirement. I think that may still be the most recent name, and we have several faculty members who have taught in it regularly, and some of the classes have met
Or on our campus, yeah.
as well.
But it's an in-person experience. These are smaller classes, yeah.
I've taken some of the NIC courses, right? The ones like Ian Sears teaches music.
Yes,
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
exactly. That's what we're talking
That's what
about.
I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
I mean,
that's what
she
we're
got me
thinking of.
into the military history of music, and I was like, what am I doing here? But it got so interesting after a while, you know, the way she teaches it. Yeah, yeah. So that's the kind of thing that I was talking about.
Yeah, lifelong learning, really important.
If you reach out to the way of collaborating with the population of Norton, we have the ability to sign up and get all the bulletins from this particular center, Norton Media Center, or from the town hall. I don't know who does that, the clerk or whoever. But wouldn't it be something to look into, at least peel back that onion and say, we've got 1,000 people who get the bulletin of what's going on in Norton. Parade, the this, the that. I'm not gonna blah blah you. But here you are in a prime position with a super foundation of what you've done in the past. And it's worth looking into and solving the problem of getting the word out without starting a new budget.
I agree.
It's free.
We're looking for those mechanisms. We've tried posters in the libraries and in the, police and fire station. I mean, we tried a variety of ways to get the word out about things that we're doing. I don't know how successful we are, but we'd be happy, we'd be thrilled to put things in the bulletin. I know sometimes people change roles or responsibilities, and it becomes more difficult to find who's that right point person to reach out and talk to about something. But yes, we would like to list more of our offerings.
You're definitely using the bulletin boards, the library,
Yeah,
the post office.
yeah.
I mean, you take up a lot of room.
I
There's a lot of
know.
stuff.
Because,
You
we're trying to find
Yeah.
ways so that somebody who wouldn't ordinarily encounter us
Right.
would know, oh, this campus is open to you, and this concert is open, or we're having a guest speaker, and you're very welcome to attend. It's just, sometimes it's...
If you've overtasked the people who are doing that, now that you have that enthusiasm in your voice about, whoa, this is something we need to look at, one or two people are not going to get the job done. It's going to form a committee of people who care enough, as you do and your associate. Two people, you've already got your workload. It's there. When you go to bed, I hope your head hits the pillow and you sleep properly, because you've got a lot of things to do. Various languages, various countries.
It's true.
A whole bunch that you, in your own, if you're in a classroom setting, you're aware of those. I don't have to give you a laundry list. But here's an opportunity to let my wife and I know, because we watch that channel. There are 3 channels in Norton. 9, 15, and 98. When you go home this evening, please consider turning on your TV and clicking to 98. It'll show up as 96, but that's okay.
Okay.
If you hit 98, it's just going to bounce back. Okay?
That's great. My colleague here is taking good notes because...
Now you're going to see the dog pond. You're going to see this. You're going to see that. And then it's read. Not in Braille, but it's read out loud by someone. So here's an opportunity for you to at least test the water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting your message out.
Well, we could talk about pre-college, because that's coming up. And we could talk about, the Symphony Under the Stars. Those are the things that are coming up in the next few months.
And your program with Amen.
Yes, absolutely,
She
which is
put
taking...
that money out for you.
Yep.
And set it up for you. And now it's up to Wheaton. And I didn't want to go in that direction. There are things here that we're doing that will just blend in. And you don't have to put a budget out there.
Anything that will save money and improve communication with the town, I'm all for it.
Have you met with Jason Benjamin?
No, I've not. Who's Jason Benjamin?
The guy who runs this.
I've met him before.
You
Okay.
met him.
We've worked with him before.
Good, great. I'm glad you brought that up.
That's the communications department over there, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yes, and Jason and our office some years ago collaborated on learning when we were all learning how to do web streaming. So we traded equipment and knowledge, and yes. So, but we could certainly do more to be in contact. If I could say one other thing.
Yes.
So in addition to the channels that you have that we clearly need to make sure that we're regularly sending that information, I just wanted to mention that the college has a newsletter for all the arts programming that takes place. It's an email that you can sign up for on our website.
Well, I remember the magazine, because it used to be free at the library. And you could go in there, sit down, and thumb through it. But again, the technical knowledge of how to do things in today's world is flip-flop.
Well, you can follow us on Instagram, and you can see all of our events on
Not a
Instagram too.
Facebook person. It's too much garbage.
Well, you
In
won't
my
get
opinion.
garbage if you sign up for our email newsletter. That's the only.
Now, how do I do that? Before you leave, would you be kind enough
I
to
absolutely
put it,
will.
rip off the bottom of one of your pages?
Yes.
I'd be happy to follow that up
Okay.
and just be in touch with you.
Great.
You know, the last time I was here, you mentioned the path, the walk path, the bike path. What do
Yes.
parents talk about when they come here with their sons and daughters? I'm sure it's campus security, the whole routine, but what do they say about going?
Well, I do cite the statistic that we're one of the safest towns.
Yeah.
I mean, that you have police and fire literally right diagonally across the campus. And I would say, I think we have a really great relationship with both departments. I mean, they have always been extremely cordial and helpful to us as we try to deal with anything on our campus that we're worried about. They're really responsive and helpful. I know that the bike trail is a big hit. When I came, we were waiting for that to get done, and I know that the students really use it. There's a lot of biking, and they like the fact that they can have that walk. I mean, there's the Wheaton Woods, but that's a lot longer, and they can get into Mansfield and go right to that ice cream parlor. I know I keep hearing about that, so I know that's a hit.
Yeah, I was sitting at a coffee shop called Aroma Joe's on a Wednesday
Yeah.
afternoon, and all of a sudden, half of the Wheaton campus showed up. They like those energy drinks or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
They put 'em in-
Yeah, the
And
ones
he
that.
has, it's free that day, and I go, I'm out of here. I go, it was an invasion, but he
Yeah.
put a promotion
Yeah.
together, the fellow that
Yeah.
runs that, yeah.
I'd love to get a coffee shop bookstore nearer to the campus.
Yeah.
That would be really nice.
Coffee shop.
Bookstore. Yeah, that's that
You owned
combination.
the library at one time.
I
and Now
know.
it's a different venue.
I know.
We could've-
They sold the
I went over
library
to the
before I
library.
came. That building. I know, that would have been a perfect
Where they
site.
stacked the books, I bought all of those.
Mm.
Because I was an auctioneer at that time.
It turns out it isn't just for students. People go there,
People go
hang
there.
out, have a conversation.
Now it's owned by a different
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're doing event planning, and
Correct.
we've reached out to them, and we're happy. I mean, we do have, again, parking. There could be partnerships, or if they were doing a wedding reception, we have amazing facilities. We have the chapel. We have an enormous and quite old and lovely hall where you could have a sit-down dinner banquet. And and then do something with their reception over there. So all within walkable distance, and with the hotel in town too. We're good.
Mr. Campbell, who was a selectman for many years in our town and brought it to where it is now, took a hiatus and now he's running again, just to get back in, because we're in such a good position right now with what we've done with all the different boards. And he started I don't know if you started it or it was voted on, but we got the traffic committee now.
We work closely with the traffic committee.
Where are you leaning?
I'm still here,
Three options.
everybody.
Yeah, I think it's a great study. It really shows what's possible for the town and the community. We've been working on road safety a great deal. So the CEO of a nearby group came to visit us and said, I was halfway through the crosswalk when I almost got run over by a car coming from the other side. And I even pushed the blinking lights. So we're working on getting those speed signs up that warn people. I'm excited about that because
We have them, we just have to get them installed.
we're excited about that. I mean,
Working with SERPED also, Air Southeastern Region Planning, in front of your campus, you're gonna be seeing some monitors put up this week. And what it does, it monitors the speed of the traffic, kind of traffic speeds, all that stuff. But it's also, they have some new technology, they can actually monitor foot traffic. So they're putting up some new machinery now that's gonna allow us to get an idea of how many of the people, not just the students of Wheaton, but everyone's using those sidewalks.
All the visitors too, and a lot of folks walk along that sidewalk
In
and
that
cross
stretch where you live,
Mhm.
and to the,
to the
bend in
library.
the road,
Yep.
to the common,
Yep,
to the library.
yep,
You brought to the attention of the Norton town manager, or whoever you did, and he formed the traffic committee. And Bob is the head of that.
I'm very grateful that Bob is the head of
And
that.
we're working on the fact, at the last meeting, we brought up the fact that in another town that I was traveling through, they had the stop sign, or slow, I don't remember what it said, let's call it slow. But around it, they had the blinking lights.
The blinking lights,
Not
yeah.
to blare into
Yeah,
your
yeah, no, the
face.
ones that, yeah, I've seen those.
So instead of having 15 of them, they're every other one. So at least and you've been concerned about your traffic speed going through there.
Very much. Yeah, you
So
really
we can put
hear
as
it.
many signs as we want, and you know what? They're still gonna drink their coffee and be on there.
How would you feel about looking at a rotary out the front window? That's been talked
Well,
about.
you know,
It's different.
I would say if it really reduces the speed and increases safety and, you know, makes it easier for those huge trucks that are coming, you know, to go around, that's okay. I mean, you know, there's 3 options that they've proposed. Only in one of them does Wheaton actually lose a student residence. So that's the one I'm less keen on for obvious reasons.
What was that number 3?
The
Uh,
one that goes behind the church.
That's
Behind the church.
the one behind the church,
Yeah.
yeah,
Number 2?
number 2. Yeah, because that, we'd lose that in perpetuity, so, and we,
Well, the advantage to it though is you're gonna have about 5 to 10 years to worry about replacing that building, and
Yeah.
that's how long it takes.
Yeah.
So if that building is structurally able to be moved, it could be
that would be
moved a
great.
few feet.
Well, right, if we can move it, right, and, you know,
and
that,
continue to use the
again,
building for what it is.
yep, that's fine. If we can move it, we're all for it.
That actually, we voted on that many months ago when I was on the planning board. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, no, we've been discussing this for years.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, if we can
okay.
move it, it's
We're getting closer though.
good.
And getting back to the traffic safety that the CERPA is doing, that will give us an opportunity, the select board, Steve and the select board can, we now have a new bylaw where we can reduce speeds to 25 miles per hour.
That'll
We
make a
couldn't
big
do it
difference
before.
too,
So
right?
the reason we have CERPA doing that study now is to give us the advice and determination that we can actually bring back to the select board and say, here it is, this is what's happening, this is their recommendations. And we're hoping to reduce the speed from 25 miles per hour from Town Common all the way to the new bike path.
Which would
Try
be,
to do that.
I think it's going to be, ooh, do we know, is that coming soon this week or or
Which one?
the
The study,
the
they'll be gathering information
Yep,
with the machinery that they have, and they'll put together a program and suggestions, and they'll forward that to the traffic safety.
because I think, you know, this Welcome to Wheaton Day, in addition to all the regular traffic we get, we do something like this throughout this. You're going to get hundreds of people and families, and then commencement,
We'll
again.
make our survey look better.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, you know, they're going to say, my God, there's so many people.
Ideally, something that would change with the speed limits before the fall.
Tweaking.
Yeah, that would be,
That's ideal.
that would be a real goal. You know, I just worry so many people are not paying attention, either drivers or pedestrians, right, or distracted.
We don't want it to happen.
And we don't want something terrible to
I know the
happen.
police are out there when they can. They had,
I know.
They had funding for that previously. They had grants for that, but
Yeah,
I know Chief Clark said they were gonna try to do a lot more, when possible.
yeah. Well, I'm sure we're going to work it out. I mean, we always do, and hopefully it'll be safer for everyone. Yeah.
You know, before we met, there's such an internal optimist. What do you say to the parent or somebody that's starting to say, is college education worth it? You know? I mean.
Well, we talked a little bit about that.
Vocational options are becoming more popular.
Yeah, I think always it's about the right choice for that person, right? College is not meant for every person, right? Some people acquire education through doing, they do it later in life, they do it in different ways. That's absolutely fine. I would say that the skills and habits of mind in college will continue to persist, and there is an economic benefit. I mean, most studies show that those who graduate from college can earn over $1 million more than those who don't in the course of their lifetime. So that's something to think about. I know a lot of folks are adverse to debt, and that's a factor that they think about as they approach college education. But Wheaton is fortunate in that we do have an endowment, and 99% of our students are on some kind of financial aid. So that's a lot of students getting support for education. And so when families look at this, what we call the advertised price of tuition, room, and board, that can seem overwhelming to a family. What I would say is that when you see that, don't panic and don't cross that school off the list, because there's always an assessment of that student as an applicant, and there's usually a financial package. And that might include work study, it might include a scholarship or merit money, it could include a student loan, right? There's a whole package that radically reduces the cost of that education for a family. And so I know that lots of people think, oh, I couldn't even possibly apply there because it's too much money. And I would say, go through the process. The Common Application allows you to apply now to a lot of schools at once and see what your financial aid package is before you make a decision in your life.
So the state of the college is good. You mentioned the endowment, right?
Yes. As long as the endowment isn't taxed, we'll be good.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have the great big endowments of some of our colleagues.
Yeah.
And and I think what most people don't know is that colleges use their endowments for mostly their own students, to support their students through financial aid. That's where the majority of where we take our endowment draw goes to. It also may support some faculty members or some research that they're doing with students, but that's where the money goes back to the students and the community. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for
Appreciate it
having
very
me.
much.
I always like coming and seeing you all. And I know I'm mic'd up, so I'm not going to move.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.